What's up, guys? It's B from Tactical Baby Gear, and I am starting a new video series that everyone on Tactical Baby Gear voted that they wanted videos on this. And this is my 94 Toyota Land Cruiser, and I want to build this into an Overland type truck. I want to take the kids out camping, take them on some adventures, something that I've wanted to do to this for a very, very long time and just never really got to it. I've had this truck for at least 12 years, if not longer, and that's always been the plan, is to build some sort of really cool rig out of it. And I started that process, and then I had kids, and it sort of just sat in the background. It was one of those things I'd eventually get to, and I almost sold the truck at one point because I was like, I'm never going to get to it. Someone else can build this thing and have fun with it, and I'm glad I didn't. It's worth a bunch of money now. I did not pay a bunch of money for it, so it really wasn't costing me anything to own it. So anyways, it just sat in different parking lots that I had at different buildings over the years. And I've always been able to at least drive it from one location to the other. And I drove it for a little while, for several years, many, many years ago. But at any rate, I want to use this video to kind of show you guys where the truck is today, what's going on with it currently, its current condition, and let you guys know some of my future plans for it, etc., and then do a series of videos kind of documenting that and taking you guys along trips and hitting the trails and having some fun and that sort of thing. My plan is to get the kids involved with it so that they have a little bit of sweat equity in working on the truck and start to learn and understand sort of the mechanics of things, and then get to take advantage of it by going on some trips. So this thing was sitting out in the parking lot for the last few years, and it's been completely covered in pollen, dirt, mold, grime, you name it, it was on this thing. There was bird's nest up top under the spare tire. There was frogs living in the door jambs. So we had to get all the stuff taken off. We had to power wash all of that off, obviously. And then I gave it a nice bath using some of my buddy Larry's Ammo Winter Boost to kind of break some of that stuff down and neutralize it, etc. Rinsed it all off again. I gave the battery a charge. It cranked right up, and I was able to just drive it right into the shop. Now, it does need an alternator, so the battery's not charging, so I'm going to go ahead and attack that. I've got some tires ordered. I'm going to put a slightly larger tire on it. I'm going to do 33-inch tires, and I've got to do a lot of cleaning inside. There's mold on the carpet. The seats are just dirty and nasty. Common issue with these is the sunroof leaking, so that's something that I'm going to have to address sooner rather than later so that it doesn't continue to leak water into the vehicle and get nasty. So that's high on the priority list. Now, a few of the modifications I've done to this thing already over the years was I built a custom front bumper for it. It's like really heavy gauge steel. I think it was like 1/4-inch steel plate, if I remember right. I built this thing years ago. It's got a winch on the front, 10,000-pound winch on the front. It's sort of a knockoff winch. I don't think there's no name brand to it. I don't know what it is, to be completely honest with you. It's got the roof rack. It's got lights all the way around it, which I think I'm going to end up replacing, but they do still work, so that's nice. There's 2 lights on this side, 2 lights on the back, 2 lights on the other side, and then 1 roof-mounted light bar up here at the top. One of the other things I had plans on doing that I hadn't gotten to was a rear bumper for it. It just never happened, and now I'm at the point where I'm just going to order one probably because I don't have time to build one. Otherwise, the inside's all completely stock. Really not a lot to talk about in here other than it needs to be cleaned up desperately. You can see where there was like floor mats sitting down here and some of this kind of staining and sun bleaching. So I'll get that cleaned up. Probably gonna put some WeatherTech mats down here on the floor just to protect it from all the elements later on. That's it. I'm gonna replace the alternator. I'm going to put new belts on it and clean the inside. Let's see where that gets. pretty impressed with how things cleaned up here. Not bad for a first pass. The carpet cleaned up way better than I thought it would. If you remember, I mean, there was just that mold and it was nasty down there. But using that brush on the drill made a big improvement. Everything cleaned up pretty well. I know it's a little bit dark and hard to tell in here. These seats, eventually I think I'm just gonna have to replace these seat covers. There's like a crack in the seat here. This is really dried out. I put some conditioner on here to try to put some life back into this leather. We'll see. And then there's some stains here I don't think I'm going to be able to get out. Otherwise, it cleaned up pretty dang good. Now the thing that we need to attack is this alternator. I think I'm going to take it outside and do some cleaning under the hood, because I want to like power wash down. I want to power wash down in this area here where the alternator is before I put the new alternator in. I don't want to get a bunch of water on the new one. So I'm going to clean up a bunch of this gunk. It's got some seepage, but if I clean it up, I'll have a better idea of where some of it's coming from. I'm sure it's valve cover gasket, distributor seal, some of those kinds of things that need to be replaced. But let's go ahead and clean this up. We'll get the alternator replaced and go from there. Dang, that thing cleaned up pretty good under there. All right, so now I got to pull the distributor out to get to the alternator. It's way down there, and it's got to come up through here. So the distributor has to come out, and I've got to get the rest of the belts off. The AC belt is missing, and so we'll replace that while we're at it and not get so dirty. So this is the point where you gotta start being really careful. So what I'm messing with right here is the distributor. This is what sends spark through these wires on the distributor cap to the spark plug. This has to be in a very, very specific position called timing, and I don't want to have to retime the entire motor and like get all this stuff at top dead center to get this pointing at number one and all these different things you have to do. So what I'm going to do is find a really good place where I can make some reference marks as to where it is right now, so that when I take it out, I can put it right back in and just make all those marks line up exactly where they're at right now without having to like start from scratch with timing the distributor. It just saves a lot of time. So there's a little trick for you. Mark things like that before you take them out so you can put them right back in without having to stress over it. And it'll fire right up when you get it back together. What a pain. This is one of those ones that as you dig deeper into it, you have to keep taking more and more stuff out. But I got it out of there. It's a bit of a mess. Things are dirty, so I'm going to clean it up a little bit more, but honestly, I'm not going to go crazy with it. I'll clean up a little bit while I'm in there, but I just want to get the new one in, get this thing back together, get the belts on it. That way I can kind of drive it around a little bit more and start to figure out what other things it's going to need. I know it needs cleaned. That'll come in time. Honestly, I'm probably just going to go get it even dirtier. So clean is not the main objective here. Working is. I wonder if I need to replace that. This pulley might need to get replaced too. I tell you what, after taking your car apart and cleaning up all the nastiness and the grease, there's no better feeling than putting some brand new shiny parts back in it. And while I'm putting this tap back together, one of the other things I'm a big stickler about is using anti-seize. So it's like a grease type stuff that you put on the threads of all your nuts and bolts. It'll keep them from corroding and rusting and some of that kind of stuff. It'll help it go back together a lot nicer and smoother and easier, but it'll also make it way easier to pull this thing back apart later down the road if I need to. Do yourself a favor and use some kind of anti-seize. I don't care what it is. Okay, home stretch. Get this battery in, get it hooked up, and see if she runs and if the alternator charges. All right, this is the moment of truth, and the battery on the camera is about to die. Let's see what happens. Oh, where'd I put the key? There it is. Ah, don't die, battery, don't die. Here we go. Oh. Why is the starter not turning? Okay. Final touch. Battery is in. All of the cables are hooked up, which you guys just missed as I tried to start it, and I didn't have one of the wires hooked up. And we were like, what the hell? The starter. I don't think I need that. Actually, I don't want that.
No, you don't need it. I
don't need it. I want to make sure the alternator is doing what it's supposed to do. Okay. Here we go. Power on. Oh, I got good power. Crank it up. Here we go. Hey! Charging, dude. All the lights are off. The alternator light is off. No check engine light, no nothing. Running smooth. Booyah! This makes me happy. This is the first time I can drive it in like years.
Yeah.
This is great.
Get all that old gas out.
Yeah. It's got half a tank. All right, let's get it outside. Should have done that years ago.
All it took was one afternoon.
Yeah. I just got done burping the cooling system, getting all the air out. I think we should take this thing for a drive. See how it does. Oh yeah, okay. Let's go this way. Feels so good to drive this thing again. It's just fun to drive, you know? Very manual, a lot of feedback, no electric steering or any of that crap. And that's a wrap, guys. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you want to continue to follow this Overland build on the FJ80, I got a lot of plans for it. I want to do a lot of things to it, take it on a lot of trips and things of that nature. So hit the like button if you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.